Welcome to the Productivity Podcast. Delighted today to be joined by Seth Ross, General Manager, Wallet and Consumer Services at Ceridian Dayforce. Hi Seth, how are you?
Hi Simon, great, thanks. How are you today?
Lovely, awesome, thanks. So worth noting, this is the number one in our series of 3 with our friends at Ceridian. And today we're going to be talking about the future of pay, which I think is really timely and really exciting. We'll focus on the weather first, being a Brit. Seth, you're in LA, I'm in Shrewsbury. Go on, disappoint me with how warm and sunny it is.
You know what? It's not bad. It's only going to be about 77 degrees today. So
Okay, you have disappointed me. So that's the British weather chat that we all love to have. Let's get into business. So Seth, tell us a bit about Ceridian / Dayforce, and then we'll find out a bit about you.
Yeah, sure. So Ceridian, we call ourselves the people platform for the global workforce. That means we are a full service HR and payroll solution. We typically work with enterprise grades or mid-market enterprise clients, and we help our customers offer payroll as well as workforce management and time and attendance, talent acquisition, and all of the elements of a software stack that's required to manage your most important resource, your people. And the key innovation from Ceridian was that our solution is a cloud-based, flexible solution that combines payroll and workforce management in one database, and that was kind of the core innovation that drove Ceridian, and that allows us to do some pretty unique things for our clients. In my role, I am General Manager of Wallet and Consumer Services, and that means that I help deliver solutions for the approximately 6 million workers who get paid through the Ceridian Dayforce platform. And the product that we'll talk a little bit about today is called Dayforce Wallet, and that's a solution that we provide to these users that allows them to get paid on demand. So no more waiting for your monthly or biweekly paycheck.
So 6 million people paid, is that kind of weekly, monthly, I suppose, depending on their payroll cycle? So some big numbers, so some big commitment, I suppose, and some big challenges in terms of all those different countries you're working around, all the different payrolls and mechanisms, and within country as companies make up their own weird and wonderful payrolls.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a complicated space, but it's one that I'm very excited about. This is a truly fantastic use case for what we'll call embedded finance. So bringing in financial services into the places where people are already interacting. That was kind of my history. I joined Ceridian about 2 years ago from kind of a pioneer in the embedded finance space, where I helped launch other solutions for some other large enterprise clients like Apple and Amazon and Uber and others. And this is just a tremendous opportunity to operate at the intersection of workers, people, consumers, and where they get paid. And we've just got this great opportunity to help make people's lives better, and that's what I'm excited about.
Excellent. So if we just think about, before we dive into Wallet, I suppose, and give people some context, I'm sure most people listening will already know this, but the world's a tricky place, right? It's been a tricky place for different reasons over the last 2 years. We've now got a war, which we're not quite sure where that's going to end up, if it's going to be something that's quick or something that's still here in 10 years' time. That's not helping the economy. Oil, gas, utilities, food prices going up. Certainly in the UK, I don't know what you're seeing in America, Seth, but we've got recruitment being very much driven by the individual now. So there's more jobs than people. So people are becoming a lot choosier about where they work, how they work, when they can get paid, which brings us on to kind of Wallet. Does that kind of set the tone for getting into the discussion about the benefits that Wallet can bring, or is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think you described it really well. We're living in unprecedented times right now, and I know that's cliche, but it's true. The fact that you've got high inflation coupled with relatively low growth in GDP, plus historically low unemployment rates. It's a very strange time to be a worker and to be an employer. And so, when you're faced with the kind of stresses that individuals have around their normal weekly pocketbooks, caused by rising energy costs, rising food costs, and inflation, giving people that kind of flexibility to get paid when they need to is a huge benefit. It's also increasingly important as companies, think about from the employer perspective, you've got to do everything you can to attract and retain your best talent, and you don't want to get stuck in the kind of the inflation trap of just needing to offer more and more in terms of wages. And so we think there's a really compelling value proposition for both the employer as well as the employee of just giving that level of flexibility and empowerment to allow people to get paid when they need it, as a tremendous benefit to those employees, thereby making employers places that people want to work. And we've got we've done some studies and done surveys that show that 8 out of 10 individuals say they want to get paid on demand. They want to get paid after they've worked versus waiting for payday. And so it allows employers to really be the employers of choice in an incredibly tight market.
So let's just work that through for people then that are listening in a real life example. I work for you in grocery store X. It's Monday morning and you say, Simon, can you come and do a shift on Tuesday? I come and do my shift on Tuesday. Can I then draw that pay down on the Wednesday for that shift on Tuesday, or is it only for certain shifts or certain types of events? How does it work?
Yeah. So yes, in fact, depending on your setup, you may be able to clock out on Tuesday and immediately access the funds that you've earned right away. Now, we make it very flexible and configurable by employer. So some employers have different settings where they want to have a manager approve the time before someone can access it, or they may set parameters around what percentage of available pay is accessible to their employees. But yes, that's exactly right. You work, you get paid.
And how does that? If I'm an employer, if I'm all of a sudden you and you're working for me, how does that work for me? Because I'll have clearly a pay run which happens weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. But all of a sudden, am I having to do multiple pay runs, or are you guys managing all that? How does the employer side work?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Now, this is the advantage of doing this with us, because we are the payroll provider for our clients. We can make it really seamless and really simple for them. So essentially, there's no change to the normal payroll funding for the employer. And we're able to do that because essentially we're offering the employer a commercial loan. So we are fronting the money to the employer between the time the employee requests funds and their normal regular funding of their payroll cycle. So what happens is we're actually sending funds to that employee, and the employer is able to process their payroll in their normal time cycle, and they pay us back at that time.
Got it. I had visions of it being horribly complex with different almost daily pay runs. So that keeps it nice and simple. Whatever my payroll frequency stays, you guys are kind of paying out these on-demand requests, and then we kind of settle it and consolidate everything at the end of our pay runs. So from an employer's side, nothing changes.
Well, I think the other key unique thing about the way we do this is that actually from the employee perspective, each of those on-demand pay requests is a fully compliant pay. There are other solutions out there that essentially operate like a loan, but we actually, every single time the employee presses the button and requests pay, we're running a fully compliant pay. So it's not like a loan, it's actually just like an individual pay run for that employee at that time.
Excellent. So that kind of helps, doesn't it? Because the whole loan thing, if you're loaning me, people can start to live beyond their means because we get in cycles of when our bills come in, don't we? And we get in cycles of when we buy things and all of that kind of stuff. So drawing that pay on demand, have you had any kind of feedback that says, is that ethical for colleagues? Or are you helping them, or actually are you making their life more difficult because they're working today and getting paid today? How does that kind of stuff balance off?
Yeah, it's a common question that we get, and the way I would just address it is by saying that you know life doesn't wait for payday. People have all kinds of needs that come up in between pay cycles, and particularly in the UK, typically on a monthly pay cycle. And so, people are going to have needs that come up at various points, whether or not they have access to their pay on demand. And so in this case, what we're doing is we're actually giving people options. We're giving people flexibility. And when you think about what are people's other alternatives for how might they address an unexpected expense that could come up at a very, in between pay cycles, what are their options? You've got, in the best case scenario, people who have decent credit, they're going to go into credit card debt. And that's 25%, 30% interest rates. If they're not so lucky and don't have great credit, they're going to go avail themselves of payday lenders, which can be 300% interest rates. Instead, we offer a solution that is free to the end user. That actually doesn't cost them anything to access funds for for what they've already worked, and this is money that they have already earned. It's not any loan at all, and so it really is the most beneficial way for someone to access funds when they need it.
It's got me thinking, because and it was interesting what you said about the UK and monthly pay. There's a big, I say a big, it's probably smoothed out over the last kind of 10 years. Payday weekend or payday week, typically in the UK, we see a spike in sales, certainly in luxury or considered purchases, because people are shopping for food all the time. In a world where, let's say, pay on demand is much more prevalent, it probably flattens out some of that, because we've not got this big, money drops in the bank on the 30th of every month or the last Friday, whoa, I'll go spend up. Actually, it kind of drip fee. So from an economic point of view, you kind of spread it relatively consistently, rather than have kind of week 1, week 2, week 3, big spike week 4, week 1, week 2, week 3, big spike week 4. So I suppose there's some economic benefits in terms of drip feeding pay, rather than one in 4 weeks a big lump lands in people's bank.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, look, you've got there's certainly the risk of the illusion of more wealth than you actually have if you're getting all of your pay in one big chunk. But really, it's all about empowerment. It's all about giving people the flexibility to access the funds that they've already earned, and it's not just for folks at the bottom of the pyramid who are relatively low earners. It's also for higher earners who want to take advantage of other opportunities. And I'll give you a great example. Particularly now as interest rates are rising, why wouldn't you want to get the money that you've earned and put it into a high yield savings account a few days earlier, rather than letting your employer sit on that float and make interest on those funds right now? And so, it really is a broad appeal to a broad cross section of users.
I see. I hadn't even thought of that angle. Good. I like that. So I'm back working for you again. I've finished my shift on Tuesday. My rules say I can access it the next morning. How do I physically do it? How do I make the request? Is it through, is the Dayforce Wallet an app on my phone? What does the mechanism look like?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's really two parts. You've got an app, very simple. You open it up and you can see exactly how many hours you've worked, what are any deductions that are applicable, and what's your available pay. You tap a button and those funds are instantly deposited onto a debit card, a physical plastic debit card that you have in your hand that you can then go and use, whether it's shopping online or at any of your local retailers.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. We also, there's also the capability to transfer funds out to a third-party bank account if you want. But we find actually a lot of our users, most of our users, just like the convenience of accessing the funds on the card and then using it to make their purchases that they desire.
So that's good. All electronic, paper trail, audit, all my tax is taken care of, so I don't need to worry about that. So is this kind of the next iteration on then to kind of cash starting to diminish? Just to give you some stats from the UK, the post office over here announced, I think it was 4 weeks ago at the time of recording, that they'd seen the biggest uplift in cash for 10, 15 years, which goes completely against everything the supermarkets are doing over here in terms of moving away from man tills, pushing self-checkout, all that kind of stuff. Some of that they think is economic led because of people managing their budgets differently because times are hard. They want to see the cash, see what's left. But longer term, is this the kind of stuff which means that 10, 15, 20 years time, we're not really going to see much cash in our hands, be pounds, dollars, whatever currency?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think actually you guys are probably a little bit further ahead in the UK than we are here in the US. I think in the US people tend to like their cash a little bit more. But certainly, we saw that the pandemic absolutely accelerated the trends toward digital payments. Um, Although I will say that people have been saying cash is dead for many, many years, and it hasn't happened yet. Cash is strangely resilient and sticks around. So I'm not quite ready to call the death knell for cash today, but certainly the trends are going that direction.
Yeah, and we're just in the process of reminting all of ours now with the king's head on. So
That's
our
right.
cash, our cash will hopefully be around for a while because it must be a costly exercise to kind of go through that process. So
Yeah.
cash will be with us. I agree. I think there's always going to be people generationally that want to move out of digital banking, let's call it, and have that cash. I think there's a certain group of shops that are always going to want to deal in that. I think there'll be a push towards contactless NFT payment, Bitcoin payment, whatever it's going to be in the future. But it will be outside of my lifetime before cash is dead, is my guess.
I think you're probably right.
So exciting development. Really like it. Like the fact it all links through. So from Ceridian payroll, HR through to my scheduling in Dayforce, and then kind of Wallet closes the loop because all my details, my tax details, my pay details, all about when I've worked, when I clock out, you then can calculate my pay and shift. That's dead exciting. But you guys must be thinking about what's next, what developments you've got on the roadmap, things that you've got planned coming, maybe the next iteration of what payment, what wallet looks like.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, the thing I'm most excited about, why I'm actually really excited to be talking to you today, is we're actually launching Wallet in the UK. We've already started initial pilots with some charter customers, and we're very very excited to be launching by the end of this year. So that is the first really relevant bit of news for you there. In
Yep.
terms of the rest of the roadmap, we're looking to build in more features around financial wellness, education, and savings. We think that's an important set of features for us to continue to help people really turn Dayforce Wallet into a financial hub for them and a place where they turn to help them achieve their financial goals.
So,
Beyond that, yeah,
so,
go ahead.
so set up a pot for a new car and transfer money in, or lock a pot for my holiday funds, that kind of thinking.
Yeah, exactly right. So you set goals for yourself, start to earn interest on balances that you're socking away for a rainy day, and really help you achieve your longer term financial objectives.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got on the plan?
Beyond that, we're looking to move into more of what we've been calling streaming pay. So today in the app, you can proactively decide when you want to access those funds. Well, why not automate that and say, you know what, I actually want to automatically get paid every day after I finish my shift, or maybe I decide I want to get paid every Tuesday because that's when is convenient for me. So really giving people more control to preset when they want their pay to come into their bank accounts.
So this is completely changing it then, isn't it? So I
Yes.
go for an interview for a job now and they say, yeah, we pay you monthly on the 28th. Or if you start after the 15th of the first month, you're going to have to get paid the month after. So I need to wait 6 weeks. Overtime's a month in arrears. So this actually sitting down with a colleague and saying, you know what, you start today, we'll pay you tomorrow, we'll pay you next Tuesday, we can pay you the third Friday of every month. That's like, it kind of blows my mind a little bit after, as you said it, because that conversation never happens.
Well, think about it today. I mean, in the rest of your life, do you wait 3 weeks for anything? You can get anything delivered by the next day these days. You can stream any video you want. You can get any access to any information instantaneously. Why are we waiting months to get paid for work we've already done? And so I really just believe this is the way payroll is going to happen for companies in the future. And certainly, in a tight labor market, it becomes imperative for clients to be thinking this way.
Like, it gives me massive competitive advantage to fill open shifts overtime, because I can do it now with a need that actually I want to go out this weekend or buy those new trainers so I can work this week and get the pay, rather than I'll work 3 months before I go on holiday overtime because I know that I'm going to get paid it monthly, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to work back from when you go away. So
Yeah.
that's
And actually, we're seeing that benefit. So we've seen that employers that offer on-demand pay have a 15% faster time to fill open positions. So they're filling those open roles faster. And actually, we've seen a 21% lower 90-day attrition. So particularly in those early days when a new employee might have to wait a little extra in order to get that first paycheck, and that can kind of impact that new employee experience. The Dayforce Wallet is really a game changer.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And then an autonomous pay, as you say, the next step on almost is setting those parameters, and then it just rolls.
Yeah, and then actually making it easier and more seamless for the employer, for the payroll team to actually run payroll and have that be autonomous, and then have the system be proactive in identifying challenges or identifying issues, so that you turn your payroll department into much more of a strategic partner addressing concerns proactively versus having to just run on the hamster wheel every pay cycle to do what they need to do.
Amazing. Any other bits you can share with us, or is the rest of it top secret?
No, I would just say we're keen to continue rolling out the solution across our markets. We're very, very excited about how it has gone so far. We're already live in the U.S. and Canada, soon to add UK. As I mentioned, we're initial pilots, and we'll be live by the end of the year. So we're really excited about the market, and we're looking forward to more success there.
Amazing. So even with my snotty nose and cold voice, I've enjoyed this one. Yeah, it's got me excited. It's got my brain thinking about all the possibilities. So, Seth, really appreciate your time coming on. This, as we said, is the first in a series of 3 with our friends at Ceridian. So the next one, we're going to be talking about the future of workforce management. And then the third and final episode is going to be around the future of talent. But let's sign this one off, Seth. Brilliant work you're doing. It's really made me think actually about how this could massively change the game. So well done on all the work so far. Thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing these developments come through.
Thank you, Simon. Great to be here.